Last week I did a video that dove very deep into comparing Tonex's advanced training versus default training when we are creating tone models. This has been a question I've received a lot. A lot of folks have asked, is it really worth spending all that extra time? I mean, depending on our system and how fast we can do the training on the tone models, is it really worth spending the potentially 9 hours for some people to do an advanced training when we could maybe do a default training in an hour? Some folks have systems such as myself, who advanced training takes 15 minutes. It's not that big a deal, although the default training takes about 3.5 minutes. So it is a much bigger investment of time that if it wasn't really worth it to us, maybe it's worth not doing that. So I did a blind test. I took the real guitar amp, reamped a track through that real amp, did a capture of it at advanced and default settings, volume matched everything perfectly, and then went back and forth between the real amp and clip A, real amp, clip B, longer and shorter clips so that folks could really tune in on it. And then I asked everybody to leave comments below as to what they thought was what. And today we're going to reveal the results of that. You can take it for what it's worth, and I'll give you my thoughts about how I feel about the whole advanced versus default discussion. And I'm also going to take a couple minutes to showcase a just released exciting tone model collection that I've just put up on my website, and it's part of my Tone Kitchen series where I blend two complementary amps. This has been a lot of fun working with some of my different amps in my collection and getting some real cool, unique tones that wouldn't exist otherwise. Today, I took my incredible Boogie California Tweed amplifier and blended it with a Marshall 2555X Silver Jubilee. The Boogie California Tweed was going through its built-in Jensen Blackbird 40 speaker, whereas I ran the Marshall Silver Jubilee through an aged Celestion Heritage 20-watt greenback speaker, and I really loved the results. Very unique. I got the best of both worlds from these amplifiers and blended them together, which is the whole point of the Tone Kitchen series. So, well, first we'll go to that. We're going to listen to those tones out of the mix, utilizing some humbucker pickups, some single coils. Then we'll get to the results of our blind test for the advanced versus default. And then on the way out, I will play you a demo video utilizing the tones from my C-Tweed Jubilee Ultimate Tone Model Collection from my Tone Kitchen series. This is volume 4 in this series, and I'll play you how those all work together in the mix. And I hope you enjoy all of this. So without further ado, let's get over and listen to some tones from this new offering from the Tone Kitchen collection. All right, so here I am over in Tonex. I have my Gibson SG here, and what we have are the different tone models. There's only 5 of them here. We have clean, push 1, push 2, OD1, OD2. With the Tone Kitchen collections, I'm trying to keep them very concise and smaller collections, just moving from clean into edge of breakup and all the way up into more overdriven tones to give a player who wants to just be able to use one of these collections through a whole night for a variety of different styles of music. They can do that very easily. So starting off, I'm on the bridge pickup on my Gibson SG. Here is the clean tone. And again, this is combining, as it says here, the Marshall 2555X and the Boogie Cali Tweed amp. Move to the neck pickup. Middle position. Back to the bridge. Just really loving those tones. Moving to push 1, sort of edge of breakup, next level of gain. Nice and fat. Works still nicely on the neck pickup. Middle position. Back to bridge. Progressing on from there to push 2. Neck pickup. Middle position. Back to bridge. Moving to overdrive 1. Neck pickup. Middle position. And finally, the last level of gain. Neck pickup. Middle position. And back to bridge. Let's give those a listen with some single coil pickups. So here in my Sir Classic T bridge position. Go to the neck position. Middle position. Beautiful stuff. Push 1, little edge of breakup. Neck position. It's really loving these really addictive tones. Moving on to push 2. Really trying to blend the grainier quality of the Boogie California Tweed with smoothing out the 2555X and getting a nice balance between those two. OD1. Neck pickup. Middle position. Back to the bridge and on to OD2. Neck pickup. Middle position. Back to bridge. All right, so I hope you enjoyed those tones. The link is below to the volume 4 of the Tone Kitchen series. That is the C-Tweed Jubilee Ultimate Tone Model Collection. I think you'll enjoy it. They're a lot of fun to play through, work really well with various guitars. So now on to the results reveal for the advanced versus default training time. So as I mentioned before, what I did is I set up a really nice tone through my Marshall Silver Jubilee amplifier, and I reamped performance, both clean and dirty, out through that amp, and I captured that performance from the real amp being reamped. Then I used that same recording chain to capture both an advanced train tone model and a default train tone model. And then I did the test where I played the real amp clip and clip A, real amp clip B, and I did various lengths of those for both clean and overdriven. I asked people to vote on which they thought was which. So I got a lot of replies back through comments on YouTube and people contacting me directly as well. And I've compiled what folks thought, and then I will give the results of which one was actually which. So let's take a look at which clip folks thought was which. So the results were kind of all over the map as far as how the comments were actually communicated to me. A lot of folks just said, I like this one, I liked that one. And this wasn't really about whether we liked one better or not. It was whether we could tell which one sounded more like the real amp, or if we could even tell a difference. So what I was able to finally compile down here for clip A was that 31% of the people who got in touch with me about this thought that A was the advanced training. And some of those people said they felt that that sounded more like the real amp. 38% thought that clip B was advanced and thought that that sounded more like the real amp. And another 31% just said they couldn't tell, that they were far too close. Now, you always got to take these with a grain of salt. I don't know what systems people are listening to. I've had people in past tests tell me they just listened on their iPhone, and you're not going to be able to hear the differences on something like that. You need a decent set of headphones or decent set of speakers and really do some critical listening to hear the differences between these. So what was what? Well, after all of that, I can tell you that clip A was the advanced. So a lot of people thought that clip B was the advanced and were fooled by it. So I don't know. What does that tell you? I really do think in this, my personal opinion on it, that in this particular situation with this tone model and this amplifier, that the clip A, which was advanced, did sound more like the real amp. Now, having said that, I have had situations where I've done this test myself many times over again, and many times the default training sounded closer to the real amp. So I don't know if there's anything really definitive here that can be taken from this, and I think sometimes it just depends on what we're capturing. And I think after doing as many captures as I've done, I get a feel for whether default will work better or advanced will work better for a particular amp and tone. Now, the other thing was that some folks did mention to me that, you know, they couldn't hear a difference as much on the clean, but they could on the overdriven tone, and that kind of does make sense as well. So maybe default is good enough for clean, maybe not. I don't know. You'll have to take away from this what you will. And, you know, I don't think it's really gives us anything definitive, but in this particular situation, those were the results. So there you have it. Kind of interesting. I always find these fun and enjoyable. I got to be honest with you, Tonex is incredible. I really think that even on the default training mode, you're getting such stellar results that unless you were doing a properly controlled test like we just did, where the volumes are matched and you had the real amp to compare it to, you're probably not going to be able to tell the difference anyways, because you're not comparing it to anything. Unless you were in the room and had a recording of that real amp chain that you could listen back and forth to, what's it going to tell you? The default training is just incredible. The advanced is incredible. And ultimately, I think what we could maybe take away from this, that if you have a system where default training times are much, much faster than advanced, you know, the sort sort of 9 hours for advanced versus an hour for default, I probably wouldn't worry too much that you have to utilize default. For most of my tone models, I will go with advanced, but I have used default in times where I've actually captured both and compared them to the real thing and found that the default was better. So that's why I don't really get into too much of this, whether this was done default or advanced. I trust myself at the time to do the comparison while I'm making my tone models, and I choose the one that's going to represent more accurately the actual real amp situation. So I hope that that was at least enjoyable. I don't know what it told you. Take away from it what you will, but I really do hope you enjoyed it. And today I'm going to leave you with the demo, the full mix demo of the C-Tweed Jubilee Ultimate Tone Model Collection. I have the link below if you're interested in grabbing that. I hope you enjoyed the out of mix tones, and I hope you enjoyed the in mix tones. And I hope you enjoy this piece of music that I used to showcase them. Thank you guys so much for sharing your time with me. Please like the video, share it with anybody you think would get some use or enjoyment out of watching it. Also, please subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell notification to get notified when I put new content out. I'll be back really soon with some more. Thank you guys again so much for sharing your time with me. Ciao for now.